Organizing a group to help people work together can be kind of a challenge, especially when people are not used to thinking beyond themselves, or maybe perhaps in a good selfish way, trying to be the experts and specialists in a certain area. So I want to share with you the context for the conversation in the form of what attorneys may know very well as a discussion fact pattern. It's a scenario. So this is something you can use in the context of building this group synergy and helping people to recognize not only the facts as it relates to them, but the facts as it relates to people working together, whether it's in a company or in the context of working together in the company of other people, perhaps to create some synergies for networking beyond the business that we're in as individuals. So here's the background. I'm going to share the background with you. I'm going to get to the 4 questions. The 4 questions are the great way to bring it together with the context for the conversation about what happens next. So here's the background. You can use this, by the way, as a guide. Just tell them Bob gave it to you, but it's for the goodwill and the benefit of all concerned. So here's the background. Business owner, Sam A. Smith, a 62-year-old Chicago resident, owns a small firm specializing in solar panel installation. The company's called Sam Solar. He's married to Sally. She's 59 years old. She works as the company's part-time bookkeeper. She was served in a prior role for CPA for Portillo's. Now that's obviously not true. This is a fictional reference. So there's going to be other fictional references. This is not an endorsement for Portillo's, but they do have great hot dogs, and I wasn't paid for that endorsement. You should just know that in case you're in Chicago. So Sam and Sally have 3 children, Stephen, 35, Sarah, 33, and Scott, 18. Here's a little more context about them. Stephen has worked for his father since graduating high school and never went to college. No one's judging him, it doesn't matter. He's paid a salary of $125,000 for his role as vice president. He's married to Sage, a woman who takes care of the family at home, and they have 2 children, ages 12 and 10. Stephen has never thought of doing anything except working for his father's business and hopes one day to take over. He jokes that he is the hyper quote, or air quote, true president, and he's taking a more active role in determining the company's future direction. This is one of those situations where people kind of think they're in control, but maybe they're not quite yet, or maybe they think dad has 1.5 feet out the door, but I'm not even sure what that means either. So middle child, Sarah, graduated with a master's in hotel management and currently serves as general manager for the Taj Mahal, again, fictional, a luxury hotel in downtown Chicago. She is paid a salary of $175,000 annually and is married to Sean, a finance director for a group of nursing homes in the greater metropolitan area, he is paid $225,000 annually. They have hopes of purchasing a hotel franchise in the future so they can combine their respective talents into their own business and expect to need $2 million in investment capital. They want kids, but it never seems to be at the right time. Being a mountain climber can be a challenge in that way. Another context. So the 3rd child, Scott, was, again, air quote, inadvertent blessing, and is about to graduate high school. He's a varsity hockey player and has hopes of making it to the NHL. Scott enjoys the attention he receives from being a letterman and is always asking Sam and Sally for money to buy the next fashion designer outfit. He often stays out past curfew and has been in some minor trouble. Examples such as disorderly conduct from a fight in a football game and citation for underage consumption of alcohol. Sam is concerned about Scott's desire to pursue hockey and questions Scott's spending habits. Sam's parents, Stuart and Stephanie, have both passed away. Stuart died nearly 20 years ago due to heart failure at the age of 71, a common ailment in Stuart's family. Stephanie died last year at the age of 90 from pneumonia following a respiratory viral infection, but otherwise was in good health prior to her passing. Most of Stephanie's 5 siblings lived into their 90s. Sam is in relatively good health. He says he looks like his mother and believes he will live into his 90s like her family tends to, though his father's family history of heart disease makes him nervous. Sam and his wife, on the rocks and divorced, has been discussed numerous times. The business is in a growing industry and long hours are required to maintain the growth. placing a heavy strain on the marriage. They also argue about Scott's future and how to address his issues. Aside from their primary residence, valued at about $550,000, a vacation property in Lake Geneva, again fictional, valued at $750,000, and investment accounts totaling $13.61 million, the business is Sam and Sally's primary asset and source of income. They are devout Christians and do not like the thought of divorce, but the strain on their emotional health is taking its toll. They are concerned with how the business will be divided and are exploring legal separation as an alternative. Okay, into the business. More context. Sam Solar was founded in the mid-90s to provide residential solar panel installation to Illinois residents, beginning with Sam and 2 laborers. In their first year in business, Sam took no salary, and the company only profited $50,000 on $650,000 in gross revenue. Today, Sam Solar still services residential applications, but it is moving into solar farm installations. In the beginning, Sam was able to educate himself in the mechanics of residential solar installation based on his electrical engineering degree, but recently has had to hire new graduates to fulfill the expertise needed in organizing large-scale solar farms. The company now employs 70 individuals, 70, and has gross revenues of $15 million. He is currently paying himself a salary of $250,000 and pays Stephen $150,000 as VP. Sam is finding it harder and harder to qualify individuals to fulfill many of the company's positions. He is unsure about how to reduce turnover rates while improving the company's overall talent. The local trade schools have closed, and his HR manager tells him recruitment is an ongoing struggle. Kind of an ongoing thing there too. Many applicants are older and command more in salary, while the younger generation is inexperienced and often quit once they have acquired marketable skills. Even the construction laborers are a difficulty, many applicants having little to no expertise or demanding high hourly wages. He would like to take a look at the company benefits packages and ways to retain talent outside the existing 401k offerings. His son-in-law, Sean, indicates nursing homes are always short RNs and often sponsor individuals from overseas. Recently, Sam's HR manager indicated that a sexual harassment claim was made by the company's part-time receptionist, Tiffany. The complaint states that an individual, Greg, with the company's IT vendor, Greek Squad, again fictional, continuously makes advances toward Tiffany each time he comes into the office and acts like a frat boy. Hyper quotes. The complaint states that each time Greg comes in, he makes inappropriate jokes to Tiffany and asks her to go out with him. The complaint further states that she has mentioned the issue to HR numerous times, but the behavior persists. No formal complaints have been previously filed by Tiffany, but Sam indicates he is aware of the issue from internal staff discussions. Greg is the son of Sam's golf buddy, George, and 401k plan advisor. He has brought the issue up to George before, but George brushes it off as the old expression, boys will be boys. Sam has an annual policy training program in place, but fears the discussions with his HR manager, despite formal complaints and written documentation of the prior occurrences, will come back to bite the company. Stephen sees the boom in data centers as the next step in expanding Sam Solar. Data centers require large amounts of electricity and often seek locations near existing utilities. Stephen predicts investors will be constructing large-scale solar farms to provide greater geographic and jurisdictional flexibility to data center real estate developers and entrepreneurs. Sam's high school friend Peter has frequently provided the panels for Sam Solar installation projects through his father's company, Patrick's Panels. Peter, now the owner, has approached Sam with an idea to merge their companies. He hopes together they can better leverage bid potential for state and local agencies seeking solar options for municipal projects. Peter tells Sam that government contracts are a better source of revenue and calls it, air quote, free money. Sam has never been involved in government contracts and doesn't know how a merge would work and doesn't know how to respond. Okay, here's the close. And this is the fun part where you start, as you've been listening to, perhaps taking some notes during the story time. Now this is the personal goals, leading up to the 4 guiding questions that I promised at the end to build those conversations perhaps in smaller ways or maybe in a board meeting among the owners together later on. Number 1, personal goal for Sam. He'd like to retire in the next 5 to 10 years. He would like to turn over control to Stephen, but wants to consider Peter's offer for a merger and worries how Sarah and Scott will be affected. He knows Sarah and her husband will be fine without his money, but he wants to receive a fair share if he passes and worries about providing for Scott if Scott does not make it to the majors. Big risk, obviously, going pro. He also worries about Stephen's future with Sam Solar if the company merges. Personal goal number 2. He's worried about his divorce and how it will affect the company's operations, its culture, and his children's inheritances. He has heard horror stories of divorces destroying company culture, especially when both parties work at the office. He's also concerned with the religious complaints of divorce and how a legal separation would work. Personal goal number 3. He likes Stephen's ideas about data centers, but worries they do not have the staff or infrastructure to tackle such large-scale projects. The solar farms he is currently servicing total 1 to 5 megawatts. A utility-size operations could require 100 times the current operational capacity of Sam Solar. Given the recruitment issues, he is extremely concerned about such a dramatic increase in operations. Personal goal number 4. Sam would like to increase staff talent but doesn't know where to look. He's constantly hiring referrals and underqualified individuals and wants to know how international sponsorship works. He's also interested in different incentives like employee stock option plans, key man policies, or entitlements to retain top talent. Personal goal number 5. Sam would like to know how to address the sexual harassment claim. He's worried it will turn into a lawsuit if he doesn't say something to George about Greg, but he also values George's friendship and professional relationship. Many of his employees seek advice about their investments from George, and he doesn't want to create an uneasy relationship. Final one, personal goal number 6. Sam is interested in Peter's offer, but doesn't know where to begin. He wonders if selling his business is the better choice, but worries about what Stephen will do and how it will affect their father-son relationship. A couple of things to point out before we get into this, the guiding questions. So many relationships exist between this personal nature of a personal brand, company brand, the experiences and the interrelationships of people, and the structure of the company as to where it started, and this messiness in the middle between where they are and where they want to go. So here's guiding question number 1. What is one key question you would ask Sam to assist in your analysis? Perhaps leading to that insight that you might offer, like in terms of some actionable insight that you would bring to a board meeting or to a follow-up question, and perhaps recognizing an opportunity to collaborate or at least realize where that starting point is that might lead to your work if you were in a networking group. Who is the one professional you would ask Sam to seek consultation? Maybe it isn't you, maybe there's a fire that needs to be put out first, and you understand the priority where others may not, especially Sam. Third question. Who directly in your network would be a good fit for Sam? Someone you really already know. Maybe someone who can help ask some other questions that maybe you're just not familiar with based on the context of your conversation. But you know someone well enough to know they understand the context, and it would be very helpful for them to offer even more clarity or detail than the 2 pages I just shared with you. And the fourth guiding question. What is the one thing you would recommend to Sam moving forward? These guiding questions are so important and so often overlooked because people just haven't been trained to engage in these conversations that are bigger than one, rather than the power of me and my insight and my experiences, the power of we, the power of us, and recognizing it may not start with me, but if I can ask some good questions, and whether it's knowing someone within my network or recognizing there's something more nuanced in those descriptions of those details, as if it were a conversation with Sam, where's the most important starting point I can see, perhaps based on a fire or just a certain order of operations that must happen in this process, just like almost like if it were a manufacturing sequence where if you don't maintain these operations properly, you're going to scrap the whole piece and have to start all over again. So, a little help in organizing collective wisdom to achieve better outcomes with actionable insights. Thanks. Talk to you soon.